You looked up. You looked up right when I. Never mind. It's fine. It's
and
fine. It's
and
fine. It's fine. You can look at you. You
and,
can look at your phone. It's fine. You can look at your phone while I'm doing the countdown. You're great at taking.
I'm proving a point. Also, I can tell I have the natural rhythm that lets me know when
You're a stage. You're a
things
stage.
are recording or not.
You're a stage.
I just kind of have that sense.
What the fuck's their name?
Stage manager.
Stage manager. Yep, I just
Jesus
graduated.
Christ, Joe. So
stage manager's best friend.
we were talking about the Master of Disguise.
We were.
2002 movie. So
Yes.
look at what I sent you, because see if
Okay,
you
let me
recognize. Look through the images. See if you recognize the Turtle Club guy. Oh, there's not any pictures on the IMDb of the Turtle Club.
Better. Wow, this is really.
Let me send you. I'll send you the video.
Really important.
Master of Disguise.
What the fuck? Does he play all these characters? Is that the joke? That's funny.
Is that the joke? The joke. Jeez Louise. You kids today.
Us kids today.
Unbelievable. So that's a turtle. Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? You have no idea what that is.
You saying that makes it really ring some bells.
You have no clue what that is.
No.
Okay, so
Hold on. Well, now we're seeing it.
okay.
I'm gonna lower it.
Joe's watching this from the Turtle Club. I'm gonna from the Master of Disguise. So Master of Disguise, 2002 movie starring Dana Carvey, where he it's a kids movie. He plays this kind of inept guy who comes from a family of spies that can disguise themselves perfectly to be any person. So his dad gets kidnapped. He's got to save him and stuff. And it's a movie that, when it came out, it was everywhere. Now, is it a good movie? Can't say that it is. Is it, did it make money? I don't think so. But the trailer was everywhere in 2002. And a big part of the trailer was Dana Carvey. He goes to this social club called the Turtle Club. And so while he's still not great at his disguising techniques, he thinks it's like a club for turtles. So he dresses up like a turtle. And is like, am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? And everybody said that for like a whole year. And it was everywhere. So we brought it up because on the other podcast, Tune the Cooler, he's part of the Who Would Win of the Week. And so we have it labeled as the Master of Disguise because the name of his character in the movie is Pistachio Disguisey. And we don't expect anyone to remember that that's his name.
Fair
although
enough.
maybe they should. And even if they don't know the movie, they know the Turtle Club. Everybody knows the Turtle Club. Everybody listening knows what I'm talking about. Joe, for some reason, does not. Now, the thing about the Turtle Club scene, which you just watched, what did you think?
It's pretty funny. It's pretty, it's comical. It's pretty good.
It's
like
a Turtle Club.
Scene.
So
I can already tell.
It's certainly the most memorable scene from that movie, and it's certainly the scene that people, like I said, who maybe didn't even see that movie, are familiar with. That's Am I Not Turtly Enough for the Turtle Club? That scene was filmed on 9/11. They tell the story. Dana Carvey has told this story in interviews where he is in the turtle costume, and they're filming the scene, and then there's a TV on somewhere, and it's showing images of the Twin Towers, September 11th.
That's insane that I said that as a joke. And that's actually a thing. Jesus.
Yeah, so...
Oh my god. Well, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Well, now I know who the Master of Disguise is. That's crazy.
Cole and Dylan Sprouse play his young Pistachio Disguisey in flashbacks. It's one of their first jobs. I think that was pre... I wonder if that was pre-Big Daddy. It had to have been. Well, I guess it didn't have to have been, but the role is certainly more in Big Daddy than it is in this movie.
That's crazy.
Let's see. Big Daddy was 99. Okay, so this is post Big Daddy for the Sprouse twins.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, you know what this movie kind of like, I don't know why it gives me this kind of a vibe. I was gonna bring this up to you at some point. Have you ever heard of the you know that one Ben Stiller movie,
Zoolander.
No, but okay. I never
Something
watched
about Mary.
No, it's a comedy. It's like a very, I don't think many people know about it.
The Royal
Mystery Men.
Tannenbaums. Yeah, of course I know the Mystery Men, Joe. Are you kidding me?
Okay, is that a big one from him?
No, a lot of people don't know what that.
I was
movie
gonna
is.
say,
you are correct.
Cause I saw that it was just put
Raja.
on. I saw that it was just put on Netflix,
Yeah.
and I got a crazy flashback because my mom had a DVD of that movie, and I think still
Wow.
does because
She's the one who had it.
yeah, and I never watched it, but I always just remembered the
Really?
well, I think I saw a scene or two from it, but like I don't remember it very well. But I just remember the cover. The it's like a very iconic like cover. And then I also remember she had the League of Extraordinary
Gentlemen.
and I always assumed that it was like a parody on that movie, but it might have nothing to do with that movie. But I always assumed it was a parody because it seemed like kind of similar in like just the covers.
Because you saw them next to each other.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it was just the match made in heaven.
They must be related.
Yeah,
it's
you
not.
know.
It's not a parody of that, but it's a superhero movie.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's about a bunch of just terrible superheroes, and it's that movie was pretty. I kind of have a soft spot for that movie because that's one of the movies that I first watched on AMC when AMC really did only movies, and I was like, this is a channel that only shows movies. So I watched that, and I watched Gremlins on AMC, and I was like, this is the greatest channel ever invented. And yeah, that one, I saw that it was on Netflix as well. I think that, so hopefully people will watch it, but I think, I don't think that people will necessarily like it, because it's not like a real funny movie or anything. But, I think there's something to get out of it. It's really weird. Kel Mitchell's in it, though. Hank Azaria, Ben Stiller, obviously. I think Janine Garofalo is in it. And that William H. Macy is also in it.
Yeah,
So
it seemed like a pretty crazy cast.
But it's like Kel plays this kid who his superpower is invisibility, but he can only turn invisible when nobody's looking at him.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So like they all have like shitty like powers, and it's like
Yeah, and some of them are just like I think William H. Macy's character is like the tunneler or something, and he just like hits people with a shovel, and then Hank Azaria plays the Blue Raja, who he dresses up in like a turban, and he just throws spoons. And then I don't
sounds
remember
pretty great.
Oh, I think Ben Stiller plays some type of he plays like this guy who like thinks he's the Hulk or something.
I think that sounds familiar. That sounds like a familiar.
Yeah, so I don't know. I would check it out.
It sounds like pretty funny. I mean,
it's weird. The aesthetic is very interesting.
Huh. I would check that out. That's interesting. Yeah, I would check that one out. But yeah, I saw it.
Party.
Yeah, well, I saw it and I was like, this is a movie Andrew's seen. I knew, like, I saw the cover and I was like, I've seen this cover so many times, and like, I've always meant to bring it up, but I always I couldn't think of it for the life of me. And now Netflix has given me this gift that now I remember. So thanks, Netflix. But yeah, I always thought it had something to do with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I don't think is a good movie, but I saw it when I was a kid and I thought it was a good movie. But I imagine it's not that good of a movie anymore.
I have no idea.
I remember the ending was pretty trash as a kid. But anyway, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
You know, he wears a hat in that movie.
Acting?
Haha!
What a great actor. He's got a hat on.
Welcome to Film Juice, everybody. The show where we talk about Sean Connery and hats. That's what we got from that intro. Nothing else. Mm-hmm. Nothing more. And post 9/11. Okay.
The hat industry took a steep decline.
We also talk about movies and shows and stuff. I'm your host, Joe Dorado.
And he's your host, Joe Dorado.
Let's get into it.
Let's get right into movie news.
Let's and he's your host, Andrew Canada. I had to say it. Yeah. Let's what else am I here for? And let's get into the movie news today. Okay. We got some good stuff. Excited for the show today. Exciting movie news today too. What do we got first today?
Let's see. A bunch of people have been added to the Secret Invasion movie, starring Samuel L. Jackson. That's the one that's going to be about the Skrulls.
Yes.
So, I mean, Emilia Clarke is the latest who's going to be in it. Olivia Colman's already in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some other folks. And they're just adding people, and, you know, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of interesting. I don't know if you really have any thoughts on that, but
yeah.
I just wonder what Emilia Clarke's role is going to be. She seems to me like she could play a Kree person really well.
What are those, you know those gold people in Guardians of the Galaxy? I feel like she could be one of those, like an Adam Warlock type. Well, not Adam Warlock, but like from like that like universe.
Yeah.
I feel like she could play like one of those characters. And
that's
I feel
a great call.
I feel like those characters aren't just exclusive to Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like those characters are going to start popping up everywhere.
Well, especially, I mean, this movie is going to probably take place, a lot of it, in space.
Yeah.
So I would bet you hit the nail right on the head there. That's going to be something she's involved in. Because they have to start bringing in Adam Warlock.
Well, that's like, he's the next like big... I mean, I don't even know if he's a villain, because like in some comics he's like an anti-hero, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting what they do with him in this universe, because there's been a few different storylines for him. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways it could go. I mean, he was also in, like in the comics, he was in, wasn't he in, like, the whole storyline with Thanos, and I think he's like he helps the fight against Thanos, right? So
I don't know what he did, but he was definitely involved in that story.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just gonna be interesting to see like what his whole involvement in this is gonna be. Maybe he didn't help fight. Yeah, you're right. Because his role is always interesting. But yeah, I don't know a lot about Adam Warlock either, but like there's a lot of hype around him, and I kind of don't want to know a lot about him until the movies come out, because I don't know, I think it'll be cool to see if I think it'll be cool to not know where he exactly aligns until the movies come out. Not saying that if you read the comics you'll know what they'll do in the movies, but you know, you'll have more of an idea probably. Also, like, speaking of Marvel stuff, there's a couple Marvel things that came out this week. First off, James Gunn finished writing the first draft of the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special script, which I think is pretty funny. I don't think anyone knew it was a thing, but it's pretty funny that is a thing. Who knows if it's actually... He wrote the script, right? But does that mean it's actually gonna get, like... Made? Like, I don't know if that like...
I don't think necessarily.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I like... If you saw the picture that he posted, it says, written by James, and then his middle name is, like, in quotations, and it says Lawn Elf Gun. I don't know. I thought that was funny. So we'll see. Mark Hamill retweeted it and said that he has a very bad feeling about it, which makes me feel like he's involved in some way.
No, I don't think he is. It's just a holiday special thing.
No, I know, but I don't know. Like,
Mark Hamill be retweeting. Mark Hamill retweets everybody, dude.
He does retweet.
He just loves doing that stuff. He just loves he just loves
That's true.
Talking to people, having a good time.
That's true. Also, Russell Crowe was revealed that he revealed that he's gonna be Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder. That's interesting. I know you don't like Russell Crowe. I don't mind Russell Crowe. I actually like Russell Crowe for a couple of his roles.
He acted 2 times. For all the movies he's been in, he's acted 2 times.
The main role
in Gladiator and The Nice Guys. Those are the only 2 times that guy's ever acted.
That's crazy that you called the 2 movies that I was just about to say.
Yeah, because those are the only 2, man. Obviously.
That's insane.
No, it's not. I
didn't think we'd have the same opinion on, like, the movies that, like, I think he's really good in. I thought you would,
What are you
like...
talking about? Those are the only 2.
Well, he's in a lot of other movies, so I didn't know if you'd have, like, another movie that you thought he was, like, really good in. And, like, I had a feeling you didn't like Gladiator, so I thought you were gonna put, like...
I've never seen Gladiator, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that it's,
Fair enough.
I hear he's done a good job, so...
But yeah, I was gonna definitely say The Nice Guys, because, he's amazing. I think he's so good in that movie.
Which makes me even angrier, because it's like, okay, so he can actually act, he just chooses not to.
Yeah. That script for that, also, I will say, like, the actor, I think anyone who was in that movie, well, not anyone, but that script
I don't
is a
think
gift.
so. He played it really well.
He
It's
did.
true, it is a good script, but he played it very well.
It's a very good script. But yes, anyway, he's gonna be Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. He's probably, I think he's just gonna play, like,
Zeus?
Yeah, he's just gonna be like Odin. I think he's gonna literally be like Odin. I think it's exactly the character he's gonna be. Like, it's not gonna be anything special. And if it is, that'll be awesome. But I don't think it's gonna be. I think he's just gonna be basically like how Odin is. Or Odin was, because Odin's dead.
I don't think it will have anything to do with a multiverse thing, necessarily, because the Greek gods do exist in the Marvel universe. It's not just Thor.
Oh no, I don't think it'll have anything to, I don't
but
know.
But it's cool that we're gonna see those 2 guys interact, though.
Thor and Zeus, yeah. That will be cool. Part of me wonders if Zeus is gonna be like the villain. That'd be kind of
Christian Bale is still gonna be the main.
Oh, that's
guy.
Right. Dude,
But
this cast is nuts.
Well, I think this movie, it's going to be wild, because Ragnarok was so good and so well received. I feel like they're just going to now let Taika do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to go wild, and everybody wants to be in his movies, so...
I really hope that this movie... Ragnarok did a great job with the style. Obviously, like, it was very, like... That's, like, one of the best parts about that movie is the style. But from just the title of this movie and the script, the font, I want this movie to go all in. I want it to go all fucking in on the style. I really do.
It's going to.
Because Thor Ragnarok was good. I didn't like it as much as, like, I liked it a lot, but I didn't, like, think it was, like, I don't think it's the best Marvel movie, like, ever, and a lot of people like do, which is fine. It's just not my favorite. But one thing that I think in hindsight that movie didn't do that I kind of wish it did is I understand why it didn't do, because that movie was a risk as it is. But now that movie was well received, I just feel like that movie kind of held back on going all in on some of the stylistic elements that movie went for. And I hope this movie just doesn't pull those punches. That movie did really well stylistically. There were some instances where I think that you could tell like Taika wasn't going all out. And I kind of hope that this movie like does that with its style from the title. I'm hoping that's where it's going. I mean, also isn't like isn't
Jane Foster, Natalie Portman's character. Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be really cool. So there's a lot of different ways that this is. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wild, and I'm excited for it. And I hope. I mean, it's obviously like what, like 80s vibes, right? Like that's like, I think I'm getting that decade right. So, I mean, I kind of hope it's like. I hope it's not like Wonder Woman. I know it's not going to be like Wonder Woman 1984, but I hope it's not like the thing where the posters are like super, or it's super stylized and stuff in the promotional material, and then the final product isn't as stylized. I don't need it to be super stylized, but I want it to be like, I don't know. I think Taika Waititi could do like really cool stuff with that aesthetic. Yeah. So.
Like I said, off the success of Ragnarok, they're gonna let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, so I think it'll be cool. So yeah, I'm excited because I don't know. No one knows really where this movie's gonna go. So it's gonna be cool to see. Yeah, I mean, like the last time we saw Thor was literally going with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So who knows, like if they'll even be in this movie for like a little bit. Like I don't know. Or maybe this movie is gonna like take place after like his adventures with them, and then the next Guardians like maybe it'll just be like timeline will be a little displaced, because they've done that before plenty of times. Like movies just come out of order. They've done that. So we'll see. But anyways, that'll be cool. That movie's not coming out for a while though. Then we got the last thing of Marvel movie news is we got okay, I thought it was Shang-Chi, but in the trailer his character pronounces it as Shang-Chi. So okay. I'm assuming it's Shang-Chi now, which I didn't know. But we got a new Shang-Chi trailer. Well, the first Shang-Chi trailer, and it is pretty sick. It is pretty fucking sick. I really dug it. I
gotta tell you, I have no idea what's happening in that trailer, and I don't know anything that the movie's going to be about. The fighting seems like it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm okay with not knowing anything.
But also, it seems like, you know what, though, I gotta tell you. It seems like there's going to be very little interaction with the rest of the Marvel Universe, which is typical when they introduce a new guy, I would say, mostly.
I'm okay with it.
But at this point, now that we're past Infinity War, I don't know if that
I think there'll be some references, like to the snap.
Well, I mean, that's just the way that people talk in that universe now, you know? It's always like the term snap and blip will certainly come up, but that's, I mean, that's nothing. That's just how people talk in that universe. So I just don't know if having a movie that does not reference or interact with the rest of the universe in any way is really something that's going to pay off for them now. Like I think that it's going to be kind of a reset with this one, and that's a little dangerous to do.
That's true. We also don't know when it takes place. I mean, I don't think we do know. I don't think we know. It could very well take place before the snap.
I feel like we would have heard about that, though.
I don't know. We haven't heard a lot about this movie. we haven't
That's
heard a
true.
lot about this movie, and the trailer didn't reveal anything, which I
Yeah.
like because I'm fucking so tired of trailers revealing everything, especially Marvel trailers. Marvel trailers
Yeah.
always do that. I actually like. I think when, when they don't always do that. Actually, for their really good ones, they're actually really like their big movies. They're really good about their trailers, but like Black Widow, I feel like I don't know. With all the trailers I've seen of that movie, I feel like I've seen the whole movie already.
Well, there have been a lot.
So
But we saw what appeared to be the 10 rings a little bit,
yes, that was cool.
which is cool. It
The-
looks like those rings in Kung Fu Hustle, which is nice.
I was just gonna say this movie just seems like it's gonna be it seems like it's gonna be a great kung fu movie. I really
Yeah,
hope
I
it
think
is.
that's something that they'll try to go for sure.
Oh, that's
Um,
like the biggest vibe I got from the trailer is that they want to go for that like kind of a this is like they're gonna try and like make this like a kung fu movie, which I think is
Right.
fine. I think that's gonna be sick. I also like I don't know. I think it's cool. I also think it's cool that like I mean I think it's cool to see like obviously like we've known this movie was coming out for a while now, but it's cool to see like Marvel like diversifying their like cast of characters even more. Like that's really great. And like this is a character that not many people know about, but I think it's cool that they're like still like going. Well, maybe that's not true, but I don't know
I have
many
no
people
idea.
who know about him. So I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
cool that they're like doing that. They're doing that. So yeah, and it looks good. Yeah, it looked like it was shot really well with the fight scenes. Like it looks,
Oh yeah.
and it looked like they were. I don't know. It looks like one of those movies where like they're really like you can feel the hits like other kung fu movies where like you really can tell they're all in on the
Yeah, there's a lot of
action.
emphasis on impact.
Yeah. So that was great. The train scene already seems nuts. Like that little foreshadowing they did with like some of the train scene stuff. Dude, nothing is better. Have you seen the Wolverine?
Yeah.
You can say people can say what they want about that movie. That train scene in that movie is one of the best X-Men that is one of the best Wolverine fight scenes ever. It is so awesome. Like I think train fight scenes are so cool. They're so well
Yeah.
done. And that one like was awesome because they went kind of with the like hand-to-hand like combat like with that one. It was a really cool scene. I love train fight scenes. They're so sick. They're always cool. So yeah. I think it'll be a yeah, I don't know. Wait, the trailer didn't show too much, but it did get me excited for it. It definitely did.
Yeah, I think that this fella, whose name I do not recall, who's playing Shang-Chi, I think he's going to do a really good job. I didn't
Yeah.
really know what to expect out of this character, but the little bit that we see him in this trailer, not fighting and stuff, I think this is going to be a cool character. I think that
Yeah.
guy's going to play it in kind of a unique way.
I agree.
Excuse me, Jesus.
Have you ever seen well, this doesn't really that doesn't really. So, yes, on Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, it looks really cool. That's coming out soon, like at the end of summer. September, I think. Let me double check on that, but I'm
We're
pretty
on our
sure.
way.
But yeah, I mean, Black Widow's coming out first, then Shang-Chi, and then Spider-Man. I have a bad feeling Spider-Man's gonna get delayed, because that movie's coming out so soon. Oh, the Eternals. Oh, Aquafina's in it. Aquafina's
Yeah.
in it too. That was I'm glad that I forgot. After seeing, like we get a little glimpse of her character in this, and also like I don't know, after seeing how like obviously she's gonna be playing a much different character than in Raya, but she was great in Raya, so
Oh yeah.
I kind of
No, she's a good actress. And she's really
Yeah.
funny. But I didn't. The trailer didn't make me very excited for her character. I got the vibe of the trailer a little bit of Kat
Yes.
Dennings' character in Thor in the first Thor. Now she's fleshed out through WandaVision.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert for you, I guess.
it's
But
fine. I know she's in
um,
it.
but in like that those first two Thor movies, she
She
was just
was.
kind of there to like
Yeah.
say a
I hope.
quip or that didn't always land, or
Yeah.
explain something, or like ask the question that springs the exposition. So
Yeah.
from the trailer, that's what it looked like Aquafina's character
Hmm.
is going to be. But I mean, I kind of hope that's not true, and I don't.
I
I feel
agree.
like it's not going to be, because I don't think that they're. That's a mistake that they're going to make, or a character type that they're necessarily interested in even doing now. So
Um, the main guy, the main actor's name is Simu Liu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but and then it's coming out September 3rd, 2021, and then the Eternals I think is actually next. The Eternals is coming out after that one. We're getting 4 movies. Yep, November 5th, 2021. And then Spider-Man is coming out December 17th, 2021. We're getting 4 Marvel movies in the next year. That
yeah,
is insane. That's like that's like the biggest rollout like of that Marvel's ever done. Like obviously it's because of the pandemic, but it's crazy how close together all we're not used to it. We're used to having two or three Marvel movies a year. They like switch off every other year, right? Um and then like we're used to like longer breaks. I mean, I remember when we were in high school, we were like, oh, that movie's coming. Like we saw the Civil War trailer a year, I think, before it came out. We were like, oh, that movie's gonna be so good. I'm so excited for that movie. So like, it's just so different. Like now, it's like we don't even have a trailer for the Spider-Man movie or the Eternals movie.
They released the trailers so close to the release date of the movie.
Yeah.
I like that
it
though.
I do too. I think I'm liking it more too because I like that there's not too much build up. Or there is build up, but like it doesn't fizzle.
No, I know what you
it
mean.
doesn't fizzle. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely less fizzle. But
Yeah.
I like I would just get so angry, I guess, when I would watch a trailer for like Civil War, and then it's like, now I gotta wait a fucking year to see what this is.
Infinity War was pretty similar. Infinity War was dude, that trailer was like unreal. Unreal. I remember we watched it like 10 times. That trailer was unreal. It was very similar with the Last Jedi trailer, and the Endgame trailer. But anyhow, really quickly, I think there might be one bit of movie news that I'm forgetting, but one more thing before I throw it to you. I don't know if you saw this, but the first teaser for the return of Dexter was shown off.
I did not see that.
And
That's
it's
interesting. I
just
forgot that was happening.
it's just a shot of a hatchet in this piece of wood in the middle of this snowy area, and then there's a fire in the background, and then you don't see Dexter, you just hear his voice, and he says, there really is nothing like getting back to nature, my nature. And then it ends, and then it shows like Dexter spelled out in blood in snow, and then it like covers over. I watched the first season of Dexter, and then I stopped watching it because I heard the end was so bad that like it just kind of fucked the show over, and I didn't really want to commit myself to a show that the end just wasn't gonna be good. Like I heard it was really bad. Like I heard it wasn't like Lost or Game of Thrones where I've heard like mixed things about. Like I have not heard one good thing about the ending to Dexter. So that's upsetting. But now that they're coming back with it, maybe I'll start watching it again. Especially after I watched Hannibal. Hannibal was just like obviously like there are parallels between like Hannibal and Dexter in some ways. And maybe I'll just start watching Dexter again because just to fulfill that, because Hannibal's a great show, and like just to like fulfill that kind of like I don't know, if I ever want to watch a similar type of show. I don't know. Did you watch Dexter? I feel like you have.
I watched the first 4 seasons because
Okay.
there's a season where John Lithgow is in it, and I was told that just stop watching it after that, and I did, because by that time I had heard the same thing, that the end of that show is insanely disappointing. And you could tell that it was kind of fizzling out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a tough show to keep going for as long as it did, though. And I don't think it's a good idea to bring it back like they are. I feel like it's only going to be... I feel like by bringing it back, trying to correct a mistake, the way that it ended, I think that's just a bad move. I think you're just setting yourself up for a loss on that one.
We'll see, though, but... We'll see. The only thing is, I feel like that actor wouldn't... Well, we'll see. But for some reason, I just have a feeling that actor wouldn't have signed on if it seemed like something that was just going to make things worse. But maybe...
I don't know, buddy.
Who knows?
You're forgetting one thing. The U.S. dollar, baby.
You're right.
That cash money.
But I will say, if I had to predict, I think the first season is at least going to be good. I think it has to be. I don't know. I just have a feeling that the first season is going to be good, and then who knows after that. But I have a feeling the first season is going to be good. The first season coming back is going to be good, and it's going to get a lot of hype. And then after that, who knows? But I have a feeling they at least have one good season. And maybe it'll only have one season. Maybe it'll be like the end season. Who knows?
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, that's something that I've said a million times, is that TV is only one season these days.
Yeah.
Like Westworld, Stranger Things.
I disagree with
show
Stranger
on one
Things,
season
but...
of I know you do. And I understand, but...
You also liked Stranger Things 3.
Yeah, I know,
really
but that first season is unreal.
Yeah,
and a lot of things changed in those other seasons.
That's
and
true.
You could tell that there were changes that were only done because of the success of the show. They did not feel
fair. Yeah.
I can't remember the word, but connective to the rest of
Fair.
What was originally going on. All you need is one. TV is just one season now, which is good, but they need to realize that it's just one season and stop. Because I don't think you can stop buying shows like that, though, because like the pitch for Westworld, the pitch for Stranger Things for those first seasons, you have to buy that show if you're HBO or Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, you can't pass on that.
I think Mandalorian was 2 seasons. It was like...
And Mandalorian is sick. That's true. They're doing it that way. But I mean, that's Disney, that's Star Wars. I mean, this whole company is an outlier, right? With Marvel and all of their stuff. They're just knocking
Game of
things out the
Thrones,
park.
I would say, was 4 seasons at least.
That's
yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's totally different, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for one thing, you have a hefty amount of source material. And also, that show started before the trend that I'm really talking about.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's fair. That's also very true. That show was very ahead of its time.
I guess that was a while.
That show was very ahead of its time when it came out. So, anyhow, is there anything else that I'm missing that we got?
I don't know. We could talk about Hilary Duff real quick if you want.
Yes, really quick. Yes.
So what I didn't know is that the Lizzie McGuire reboot fell through. You know she was doing that?
Yeah.
For Disney Plus.
I guess that did fall through.
She left it because I don't know, creative differences.
I'd say that's probably a good thing then. The only reboot I'm paying close eye to is the iCarly reboot. It's the only reboot that is on my mind.
Yeah.
but
Gibby has not signed on yet.
No? Oh man. I mean, I know Sam
Neither
isn't
has
going to be
Sam.
on it.
Oh.
Sam's not going to be on it, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed. She's not coming back.
She said no. Okay.
But we'll see. I mean, Jerry Trainor's the only one I honestly like. Really, I just want to see
but that
more.
character could not carry the whole damn show.
You're right.
That's why he was so good, though. You love a character like that because they just have those little moments that he
exactly.
had.
Jason Bateman in Thunder Force. Yep.
Yeah. Good call.
So but yeah.
So
anyhow, yes.
Now, with Lizzie McGuire falling through, Hilary Duff is now signed on to the How I Met Your Mother spinoff that's being developed for Hulu right now, which is kind of weird.
It's very weird. I mean,
that show was on for such a long time,
and it
was a funny show.
It's a pretty solid
I
show.
was one of those folks that did not like the ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but what's the spinoff gonna be?
I didn't hate the ending.
I don't think. Because they tried. So I don't know if you know this, but they actually, when How I Met Your Mother was still on in like its last couple seasons, CBS made another show that was a spinoff to How I Met Your Mother. They made it. It was called How I Met Your Father, and they shot a pilot. Same guys wrote and shot a pilot. But
wait, I did hear of this.
Yeah.
I did. I thought it never came out.
No, it didn't come out, but they shot a pilot, and they were going to go to, upfronts in New York, which I think people know what that is, so I won't explain it. I muddle things up. But the pilot was so bad that it didn't even make it to upfronts, and
That's
it just
crazy.
got messed up. So
I mean, that's a good thing then.
yeah, so it's been tried before, and I don't know what
It's
this
gonna be
show could
weird.
possibly be.
Yeah.
I mean, she could play what? She could play Barney's daughter, and then what? Is it about like whatever the womanizing equivalent is to like a lady going after guys?
Yeah, but I don't even know, because the thing is like, How I Met Your Mother I don't think would have worked if the whole show was centered around Barney.
No,
like,
of course.
So like the whole reason like so I don't think it would work if they literally just took like his character type and
it wouldn't.
So I don't know. I agree. I don't really see where this show could go. I'm not very excited for the prospect of it. I also think that
what the fuck?
I don't know. How I Met Your Mother is such an anomaly of a show, and I don't know if you'd agree. It lasted very long. It was one of the few sitcoms at the time that I think, or I don't even know if you call it a sitcom, but it was one of the few.
Of course, it was a sitcom.
It was one of those shows that was a constant, and I feel like was pretty what's the word? Not constant.
Consistent.
It was, from what I remember, maybe I'm misremembering it, but when I watched it when I was younger, it seemed like a very consistent show until the last season. Whether you like the last season or not is a whole thing. But I remember not disliking it, but I was also a kid, so I'd have to rewatch it. Another thing about that show that was so good was the fact that it not only was funny, but it had a lot of deep moments. Like, it had a lot. That show hit, like, that. First of all, I thought the foreshadowing on that show was unprecedented for a show like that. Like,
which is a good thing. Well, yeah, it absolutely is. But it's a good thing to have for that show in particular, because the whole story is being told in the future.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the foreshadowing, like, looking back, like, I've seen, like, clips of foreshadowing, like, foreshadowing montages of, like, and it's crazy how far back in seasons it goes.
Oh, yeah.
It's, like, they really so they did a good job on that. And I love foreshadowing that doesn't give you the answer, and then when you look back on it, it's like, that's like, it's insane that they did that. So like, that's the best kind of foreshadowing. And that show doing it is pretty unexpected, because at first it just seemed like a good comedy show, right? It didn't really seem like there was anything more to it. And then, as the show goes on, you realize, like, I think the first episode you realize it is the episode where he's, like, in the bar, where Ted's in the bar, and then Barney's like, this never happened. And then it goes, and then, like, it has this weird existential moment where Ted is, like, going through, like, this thing that never happened before, and it's all because he, like, anyways, it's a great show. When I remember it, it's a pretty great show. Yeah, anyway, that was my tangent on How I Met Your Mother. I don't think they can really replicate it, though. I really don't. I don't think they're going to be able to do something with it, but we'll see.
It's a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah, so...
It's a weird thing to try and do.
It is a very weird thing. Maybe it'll fall through, too, but we'll see. Anyhow, I think that's all we got for movie news this week. Let's jump right into the movies this week. The first movie this week, I'm actually super excited that we're doing, and we brought it up on the I remember when the trailer came out, I think I sent it to you because I was like, this is gonna be, like, this is just insane that this is a thing that's happening. And it's it's Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk. It came out like a month or so ago in theaters, but now it's released on digital. And you can see a little clip of the film right here. Bob Odenkirk is just kicking ass on a bus. That's like the main scene they show in the trailer. It's basically Bob Odenkirk is this guy who he's an everyday man, as it seems, everyday family man, as it seems, and then you realize as the film goes on, he has a past to him, and he's
so fast.
He's actually a pretty insane. Well, I won't spoil like anything, I guess, but he can kick ass, and he can kick ass, and he can do a lot of damage. And anyhow, yeah, he gets some unwanted attention from a Russian mobster, and he has to protect his family and kind of come out of hiding and, take him down. If that sounds familiar to you, it's because it's very, very, very familiar to John Wick. Maybe not specific plot, but
a guy coming out of retirement who's like a secret badass.
Yes.
And just by like some happenstance he has to get back into the life.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very familiar to that. But I will also say it does not it doesn't hide it. It doesn't try to hide it. It doesn't try to hide it. It doesn't try to give I don't think it's trying to it kind of owns it. That's the way I'm trying to say. I think it definitely owns that idea. And I will also say at the same time, I think it ends up making its own little like space for itself.
Oh yeah, of course. I would say it seems like, even though obviously it is pretty close to John Wick in the ways that you said, that's not something that they were worried about when making the movie. They're like, yeah, it's close, but this is just a cool movie, and like if we if we don't worry about that and just make it as cool as we can, it's not gonna matter. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, the only reason why I say some of the other, the only reason why I'm like referencing the John Wick a lot is because in the promotional material and the trailer that I'm showing, not the trailer, the poster that I'm now showing, and I've showed you this poster before. It's very, very, like, it's very similar to the John Wick poster with all the guns around him. So, like, I just think it was very, like, they were being tongue-in-cheek with the promotional material, at least with the movie. And I think that was a good call, because it got a lot of people on board, and when it also made it so when you watch the movie, it was a little unexpected that it was more than meets the eye. I think there's more to this movie than the like trailers and posters suggest, and that's great. What did you think of this movie?
Well, because it seems like a guy who just something happens where he kind of questions his ability to protect his family, and then he just goes nuts.
Yes.
But then you find out that he was more prepared than we thought.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, man. I was watching this movie, and I was like, is this a dream? Because it seems so much like an old man's fantasy.
Yeah.
That I was like, is any of this actually happening? Up until the very end, I was like, is any of this happening? The second I was like, I think this might be a dream, is when he went to his dad's and got that gun.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that isn't the case, because that would have ruined the whole movie.
Yeah, because it was, but there are these moments where, like, Christopher Lloyd, who plays his dad, comes out and does these certain things, and he's excellent. He steals the movie with one line.
What was that line?
Late in the movie. I can't even remember what it is now, but late in the movie. It just feels like a guy who, like, his wife and kids don't respect him, and then his neighbor's got that nice car next door, and he's just like, what if I was in a Tom Clancy novel that I like to read? And so I was like, what, is this just like the craziest New Balance commercial of all time? Like, what's going on? But the thing that kind of emphasized that to me as well as a possibility was Odenkirk, his character kind of talks to himself a lot.
Yeah.
In a way that makes him seem like a psycho. And look, he is brutally, brutally murdering people in this movie, so you could definitely use the term psycho, I think, and to do all the stuff that he does in this movie and some of the things he talks about that he has done and the way he approaches and handles these situations. Like, he's not necessarily a healthy dude.
No.
But holy smokes. So I think he was a perfect choice, because that is something that you don't typically see from this type of character, is kind of a manic energy, honestly. Like, he's very confident, smooth in every move that he makes and stuff, but there's something real wild to him. And again, that plays into the fact that I think now he's finally off the leash after being tied in for, a long time.
Have you ever seen the Hot Fuzz? Have you ever seen Hot Fuzz?
Mm-mm.
That's the one Edgar Wright movie that I did remember that now that you said that. Like, that's the one Edgar Wright movie I really want you to see. This movie has a lot of not a lot, but there are interesting parallels that I drew with this movie and Hot Fuzz. Specifically the intro, the way it's very
repetitive.
Yeah, so the Hot Fuzz, especially the intro in the first act of Hot Fuzz, it emphasizes monotony a lot through editing and through montages. And this movie, like, does it pretty similarly, which isn't a bad thing. I love it. But I really liked that this movie wasn't edited and shot so cut and dry like it could have been. Like, this movie does have character in the way that it's made, and I appreciate that, because this movie could have easily been so run-of-the-mill, with how it's shot and how it's edited, especially the parts that aren't, and specifically the parts that aren't action. Like, they could have just phoned it in on those parts if they wanted, and they didn't, and I like that a lot. I also want to shout out Bob Odenkirk as well, who I know him mainly through Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which he is phenomenal in. But he plays a very, very different character, so it's so cool to see him play. It's so different to see him play a character like this. It is so different. It's amazing. It's kind of like, I feel like Bob Odenkirk like sees a, like, I don't know Bob Odenkirk, but I just feel like, just with the characters that he's so used to playing, I feel like part of him really, like, you could, like, part of him, like, almost saw, like, got a release out of playing this character because of, like, the type of characters he's so used to playing, where he, like, doesn't have any action at all. So I really feel like this is, like, maybe, I mean, I think he produced this movie. I could be wrong. Let me double check that, actually. Yeah, he didn't write it or direct it, I know, but I'm not seeing anything I'm producing, though. But anyways, yeah, so I just feel like he had some, like, he definitely was, like, all in after seeing, like, I don't know, I feel like he was maybe involved. I know a second movie is already being planned out, I've heard. So, I don't know. It just seemed like he was involved in this character's,
Well,
like,
I'll tell you what, I think
idea.
that this movie, this character is probably cathartic for,
That's what yeah.
like, everybody.
That's also true.
A lot of people that watch this movie,
Reminded me of Office Space a little bit, too. Of
Yeah,
that idea.
yeah, that's a funny comparison, but
Yeah.
I understand exactly what you mean.
Um,
I'll tell you what, this movie, I thought it was edited exceptionally well. Across
yeah,
the
it
board.
was.
It was
Oh,
awesome.
dude. I want to say, I do gotta say one thing I didn't, because there are a lot of things that I do really like about this movie, but I gotta say, the thing that really does bring this movie down for me is the script. The dialogue is not
Well,
good.
the moments where, like the "I'll be back" moments, right? The
Yeah.
one-liners during the action scenes,
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah,
real bad,
really
just
bad.
not fun,
Like,
just not
not
fun.
even he can't deliver them, like, back well. Like, like Bob Odenkirk's a great actor. He's an amazing actor. He can't even make him work. He just can't. Because he goes all out in this movie, and he's phenomenal in this movie. But there are just some lines that they give him that are so terrible, and they really do, like, stop some of the momentum in some instances of this movie, and that's a shame. It was tough because the script is so cheesy, right? In a lot of instances, the script is so cheesy. Dialogue specifically, I should say. But it was hard in some instances for me to tell, like, is this, like, supposed to be, like, self-aware in a way? Like, are they purposely doing this? But after a certain point, I was like, no, there's no, like, this is just not good.
Yeah, because again, I was like, okay, if this is this guy's dream, then I can kind of understand why some of these lines are so bad. Because he's just, like, writing it based on movies that he's seen, but that's obviously not the case. So
I still prefer some lines of dialogue being bad as opposed to, like, it being a dream. That would have just ruined the whole movie for me. Because, like, the reason why it's so good for me is because you really do, and the reason why the dialogue doesn't completely ruin the movie is because the character, first of all, the visual storytelling's amazing, and there is a good amount of visual story. Well, I won't say amazing, but there's a lot of it. There's a good amount of it, I think. I think there's a good amount of visual storytelling. And I think that makes up for the instances of the bad dialogue. I also want to say the characters. I think the character, specifically Bob Odenkirk's character, is super. You can connect with him super easily, and you like he's super like. I don't know. Is likable the word? You root for you. I feel like you root for his character a lot, and you really feel for his character in a lot of ways. So I think that's what carries the movie, and I think that's why these hints of dialogue that aren't good at all don't completely ruin the movie. It definitely brings it down, but like it doesn't like make the movie like not like good to watch. Like I still think this is
you can when you hear them, it does make you stop for a second and be like, why would that be said? But you can immediately fall right back into it.
Yep.
You're only out for a second.
Yeah. It kind of makes me I mean, you remember when we said that about like that's a possibility for the new Mortal Kombat movie? It's crazy that like this is like kind of that idea in actuality, and I wonder like if it's interesting that like we were kind of talking about that a week or so ago, and like this is a very similar idea with this movie that's happening. So I also want to say I thought the lighting was pretty exceptional. The lighting was really good. Obviously, there are a few scenes, particularly the second scene, the second fight scene. There's dark lighting, but like, it's not dark to the effect where you can't see anything. It's definitely dark to an effect where you are missing some stuff, but I think it's always exceptionally like lit. I do think that they show the action really well in this movie. Like I don't think they're like trying to hide like action scenes and stuff.
No,
and
it's the best way to shoot them, right? It's a lot of wides, it's a lot of pretty long takes, some tracking in there.
There's some really cool tracking shots. Yep. Oh, that one gun they get experimental with a few shots too. There's this one gun shot where he at the last fight scene where he throws the gun and it like follows the gun. Like it was really weird, but I love that they took that risk. It's so different. Like it was
there's
really
a lot of each like the bus action scene that you see in the trailer and in that little clip and the last action scene are so different from each other.
Yes.
There's so many different styles.
It's great.
The action is very diverse, I would say, that's one thing, but the way that the action is shot, different action scenes are shot is very diverse. Some of them are really stylized, some of them are more basic, all of them are really cool. But yeah, I thought on the action being diverse, I mean, you have the bus, you have like a confined space one, you have a car scene, you have something where he goes into a place and just takes everybody out. You have something where he has set up a place and people come to get him and get everybody.
Yeah.
There's just like every different kind of action.
It was crazy.
Scene that you see is in there, and they're all done really well.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. The music I also want to say is not like the music choices I actually liked. There was one scene where I didn't think the music was that great, but I can't remember it off. It was very inconsequential. But I just remember one part where I was like, oh, I don't really care for that one. But all the other ones I thought were really well done and I thought were really cool. The sound design specifically was really good. The sound design really was exceptional. I just really thought the sound effects and I thought those were really good. Yeah, I just thought they were really well done. I thought you could really feel a lot of impact in this movie. And the gore and that stuff, it was stylized and I don't know if cartoony is the word. It's not as cartoony as like Quentin Tarantino, but it's like it's in that same vein. Like there's like I think there's a lot of
Exaggeration.
there's like a little bit of exaggeration with some of the gore, I think. But it's not so exaggerated where it doesn't like there are
Seem plausible.
yeah, cuz there are some instances where there's some instances where they like really go, I don't know how to explain it. They kind of switch back and forth between this like really high pumping crazy action that isn't super close up, and then they'll get really close up in the next instance and it's like super gritty and it looks really real and it's like, geez, like that looks like rough. You know what I mean, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Yep.
They did a great job kind of switching between those two styles. It was really cool. It was really cool. I really dug those parts. I mean, like I said, the only thing that I really didn't dig, like, this movie action-wise is pretty exceptional, and it kind of blows you away, and it's kind of cool to see these old actors doing this. Like, it's pretty
like
sick.
That, Last Vegas. Remember that movie with Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman?
I didn't watch it, but I did.
But yeah, nobody watched it, but you remember that it existed?
Yeah.
This is like that, but with a bunch of guns. You know what this is? Because the movie Red with Bruce Willis was kind of supposed to be like this, where it's like, we're coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
Like the Expendables,
I remember that one.
But this is like the cool, grittier,
Yep.
you know, John Wick-esque version of all that.
Yeah. It was really sick. Yeah, the only thing I didn't really love was, I think the plot was kind of underwhelming not in the instances of once it got to, this isn't spoiling anything, once it got away from the family stuff, that's when the movie really started picking up, like, plot-wise for me. That's when, like, I really started, like, enjoying it a lot more. I'm not saying the family stuff wasn't that, like, I just think the family stuff just was almost holding the movie, and this is, I mean, it's kind of purposeful, I guess. The family stuff was the only thing, like, holding him and the movie back, in a way.
Yeah.
So, like, right when it got away from that, it was just, like, I thought the movie was so much better, because, and I understand, like, that's kind of how it's supposed to be, but it also doesn't help that the family stuff I don't think is super well written, so it's just, like, I don't know. I think, like, that part of the movie focuses on the writing more than the other part of the movie. So that's why it hinders that part of the movie more for me. I guess that's the way that I could describe it. But it doesn't ruin the movie in any way. And I think I do think the family dynamic needed to be there for sure. I just think those were the instances where I noticed the bad script the most. And yeah, like, especially with, like, some of the parts with, like, yeah, I don't know. There's this part when the cop, like, is interviewing him in the beginning, and he's like, Did you do anything? It's like, this is not a real conversation. Like, this is the worst. Like, I hated that scene. It just seemed so inorganic. It was so, like, I did not like it. But anyhow, I will say, one more thing. Spoilers, I guess, small spoilers, but all I'll say is, like, the kitty cat, like, bracelet thing I thought was pretty phenomenal. That was a really, like, nice touch, I thought. Like,
man, that was wild.
Yeah,
it was wild.
The fact that it, like,
yeah,
it's good. You know what I'm talking about. Like, everything with it. I don't want to spoil how it, like, what happens with it, but it's really, like, cool. Like, I really thought that was funny. But yeah, and also, you're definitely right. This guy's crazy. Like, he talks not only to himself a lot, but, like, there's a lot of instances where he's talking to, well, I won't spoil that either, because that's a pretty, like, funny moment when you realize that happens over and over again, but you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, it's, it's good stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you have to say about this one?
No, I've covered it. I was happy the way that they used Christopher Lloyd's character, because I wasn't really sure what his deal was going to be. So I'm glad that they went to that next place with him. And again,
Yeah,
it
he
did,
was
though,
good.
just kind of emphasize this idea of this whole thing just being a fantasy.
He killed it. He really killed it. It was crazy. Just they did insane things in these.
It was fun
It
to
was
watch.
just it was
Yeah.
very fun. It was very fun. Yeah, I don't know. This is a movie that like the more I think about it, the more I like really I realize how fun like it is, and like yeah, it's nothing like
It's very fun because Odenkirk, his character Hutch, he's able to play it where he kind of the weight of everything he's doing is kind of lifted off of us as an audience because he is so kind of light about all of it.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So we can really just focus on just enjoying the crazy action and stuff and not
Yeah.
be too worried about the like darkness,
Yeah.
things or whatever.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
very true. It's a really fun action movie. There's some like it's not as like tight as I would have liked, but other than that, I think it's pretty good. And I told you this. I still haven't seen the John Wick movies in their entirety, and I really want to get on that,
yeah.
and I think that'd be a really cool one for us to do in the future. But I don't know if this holds any candle to that movie, but it does its own thing, I think, and I think that's
Yeah.
really cool. So definitely worth the watch, and I think I would even rewatch it.
Oh yeah, I'd rewatch this movie.
I think I'd rewatch it. So yeah, I'm gonna. Oh man, what am I gonna give this one? I'm gonna give this one. Oh jeez, I'm gonna give this one 8 juice boxes out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it the same.
Yeah, I think it's like a solid. It's a solid movie. It's just a solid movie. Issues, but
But it's a good time, and I think that it definitely
it's a good time.
And it's a movie that's not trying to be anything more than exactly what it is, right?
Yep, that's very true as well. It's very true. I think it does like excel in it as well, though. Like that's like really what makes it good. And it does those
That's
different.
true.
Like,
It knows its
experimental-
identity
Yeah.
very well, and it's not trying to be anything other than that.
Yeah. So, and it just like like I said, the experimental things they did with the stunts, and like it was just really cool. So yeah, definitely give it a watch. It was super creative with some of this stuff too. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So, anyways, give it a watch. It is $25 to rent at the moment. On anywhere. I rented it on YouTube.
I thought it was 20. I thought $20 on Amazon.
Oh, well,
$19.99.
maybe it included tax. I don't know. Well, maybe I spent too much money. I spent an extra $5, whatever. But I got
That's nothing to me.
That's
I'm flush with Lincolns.
But either way, I'd say it's worth it. If you really
100%.
want to watch it, I'd say it's worth it. It's not.
Yeah.
This is like, Yeah, I'd say it's worth it if you want it. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. If you have the extra cash and wanna watch a fun action movie, like if you love the John Wick movies, I'd say you can watch this movie and have a really good time. If you like The Equalizer, like you could watch this and have a good time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one then. Film Juice history being made.
That's right.
It really is. Andrew, you want to introduce this one?
Yes. The throwback this week is The General. Written, directed, starring Buster Keaton from 1926. First ever silent movie we've ever done on the show, which is wild. And it's one of my favorite silent comedies of back in the day. So the movie's, I don't know if you know this, Joe, it's actually based on a true story. It's loosely based on a true
Oh, I
story,
didn't
which
know
is
that.
why Buster Keaton's playing a Confederate soldier because the movie takes place during the Civil War.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, because that's who it was about. So let's see how I can explain this. So the Buster Keaton plays a railroad engineer who is refused enlistment into the Civil War to fight for the South because they think he's more valuable as an engineer. So he kind of loses everything because people, for some reason, are under the impression that he is not enlisted because he's a coward, not because they said no to him because he's got this other job to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of loses everything, and he's just working on these trains during the war. A group of Northern soldiers crosses enemy lines, disguises themselves with plans to steal a train from the South, and while riding it back into Northern territory, take out every bridge and railroad that they pass, cutting off all supply lines to the Confederate Army. The train that they steal is the General, which is the train that Keaton is engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes off after him, and he ends up being this big hero for the South because he stops them in the end. And in that time, he saves the love of his life, who gets kidnapped at one point. It's a wild movie, but the thing about it is, Buster Keaton was his sort of niche for comedy at this time. Because obviously there's a lot of physical comedy going around in the silent area because it's the most easy. It's easy to express. Mm-hmm. But I would say that if you're looking at, because top 3 silent comedians, Chaplin obviously, Keaton, Harold Lloyd. Everybody knows Charlie Chaplin. He's definitely the most famous one. I would say that Chaplin's strong suit was honestly story for a time when, like I said, stunts were more emphasized. I think his strong suit was story, which is why so many of his movies still connect. Keaton was the stunts. I mean, he's the physical comedian, and there's a lot of great ones in this. And when you watch this movie, you know what? Let me give a little backstory on Buster Keaton just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So he grew up in a family of vaudeville actors who traveled with Harry Houdini. And there was a point in his family's act where he would get thrown by his dad into the audience. And then he'd get up and be fine and be like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then people would laugh. But he realized that it was funnier if these crazy things happened to him and then he just gave no reaction. He deadpanned it. So this guy is responsible for the popularity of the deadpan. He's the king of the deadpan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Harry Houdini's the one that gave him the nickname Buster, because he'd get beat up all the time and be fine.
Oh, that's cool.
So Buster Keaton was making movies, and then Charlie Chaplin, who had started with a bunch of other famous stars and directors and things, created their own studio called United Artists, which was around for a long time, I think, but it's been purchased by somebody now. I don't remember who. And they said, "Buster, come make movies for us. This is a studio run by artists. You can do whatever you want." So he made this movie with them. I'm pretty sure he made a lot of great stuff. Then MGM came to him and was like, "We'll give you a ton of money if you come work for us."
Mm-hmm.
And Chaplin said, "It's a lot of money, but you shouldn't do it because they're going to destroy you creatively." Keaton took the money anyways, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, the studio absolutely fucked him, and he fell into a level of alcoholism that is, very intense. So he had to spend some time in like a sanitarium and all this stuff, and so he had a tough time at the end there. But one of those guys who this was a period of time where you really had to wear every hat to get what you wanted to get done, accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
All these Chaplin and him, the starring, writing, directing, all these movies. And, in some ways that was kind of easier to do because the productions were smaller, but a lot of these guys were perfectionists, and they really pushed filmmaking as far as they could at the time. And
Yep.
the groundwork that they laid here in movies like this rings throughout Hollywood even today. I mean, take a look at this movie. This is a movie that essentially is the reason for why, for so many years, and in some ways still, people were like, well, if it's a comedy, it has to be shot very wide. Everybody, you ever hear the term comedy lives in the wide shot? That's because of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of wide shots. You get to see a lot of action in these shots.
Yeah.
And the other thing about this movie is that the cool thing with the trains
Mm-hmm.
is that there was a lot of tracking shots in this movie, which was not typical of the time.
It's insane. That's like the most impressive part of this movie is how there's like so fucking many of them. Also, I guess it has the most expensive. I saw this one fact. It has the most expensive shot in any movie of the time, like obviously. And it was that train. Like collapse.
Crash. Because that's a real train. And
I thought that was a miniature at first.
Nope, they literally broke a train to make this movie. They crashed a train.
And then they left it there until World War II, and then they used the scraps.
Yeah, that's
fucking
right.
Crazy.
Isn't that wild?
It's pretty wild.
Different time.
Different time, it really was.
You could can you imagine?
Just destroy a bridge?
What is the littering fine for leaving a train?
Yeah, just, people, they'll figure out what to do with it.
That's so cool, though. Can you imagine going to that, getting a piece of that train? People definitely did that sort of thing.
I know, it's crazy.
It's awesome.
It's, so, man. What about this movie? I mean, you covered so much. You covered a lot of it for sure. I definitely agree with you. So, one thing that I really liked about this, I've seen another Buster Keaton movie before. What's the one where he's the photographer?
I have no idea, but I think I've seen that clip before.
Hold on. Now I'm just... Well, while I look this up. So I've seen other Buster Keaton films before, and it's literally called The Cameraman. Okay, so I've seen The Cameraman, and that movie had a lot of really good. Did that one? I'm actually curious. Did that one come out before or after? Before or after this? Because that would make a lot of sense. And that would. So, anyways, that one came out after 1928. So, this that's even crazier to me then, because The Cameraman had a lot of like really crazy shots, and The Cameraman has actually, in my opinion, one of the best wide shots in any comedy like ever. And I still after seeing this one, I still think so. Because this movie definitely focused way more on the tracking shots than like on the wide shots. But it did have a lot of wide shots for sure. This is like the first like this is I wonder if this is like the first like chase movie. Like it's like Mad Max but with trains. It is. It's literally Mad Max, but with trains. There are so many train chases in this movie. It's crazy.
It's kind of hard to keep track of, like, what people are on what trains, and
it's good that that is true. That was I like that they I like that the train was called a general. It was easy to keep track of like the main train that way, and like it was just obviously like. It was a cool, like, title, like, it was like, what's the, I don't know the word, but it was a cool play on words. Maybe that's what I meant. But, I also made the connection. I was like, this is the original Captain America because Buster Keaton like tries to get enlisted, and like he's like they don't take him because he's a engine he's a railroad guy. But
He's a railroad guy.
but but he thinks they're not taking him because he's short and skinny. Which I thought was I was like, oh, this is the original Captain America. So I thought that was funny. I also want to say the set pieces for this movie are pretty fucking incredible. I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, I'm assuming most of it's on location. You can't really shoot this kind of stuff not on location. But it's incredible. Like, the props are really great. The cannon prop was very, very well utilized. I really liked that. Damn, like, I can't imagine these train shots being not dangerous either. Like, he does a lot of moving train shots, specifically one where he is on the front of the train while it's moving towards another train. I just can't imagine it was very safe. I can't imagine at all.
No, it wasn't.
It's crazy. I know, but it's just impressive. It's crazy and it's impressive. Like, it's just, it was really cool. It was very, very cool. It was very, very cool. I also want to say, with that, the main reason why the stunts are so impressive, and the tracking shots are so impressive, is because the timing and the choreography have to be so on point because of the fact that they are like one takes most of the time. Like, they're not like, there's not a lot of cuts in the tracking shots, so it's just pretty impressive in that regard,
Yeah, well, there's that. I mean, knowing that he is just,
and he's directing
again doing all these. Yeah, that's the thing, because you have to, like, I'm just imagining everybody being like, Buster, what are you talking about? And he's just like, just do what I tell you to, and like, this is how this thing has to be.
That's why I hate acting and directing, and like I think that's like such a frustrating like role in the times I've had to do it. So that's crazy.
But again, with the stunts and stuff, as an audience member, knowing that he's really doing these things, there's times when, I mean, his timing is perfect, right? Like, he plays these things so close, and then you almost laughs. There are some laughs in this movie that are just out of relief, not even necessarily because it's because of the jokes, but a lot of times it is because of the jokes. I love what the jumping on the bike thing. That's pretty funny.
Oh no, that was so good. I can't believe I wonder how many times that took. That was like really well done.
I don't know, man. Because the thing about guys like Buster
it's so
Keaton
smooth.
Is, like, he grew up as an entertainer, right? Like, I feel like this is like they were like, this is nothing to me. Like, this
looks like parkour. He just like I mean, it was parkour. He literally just like, it was one fluid motion. Like, it was really well done, like you said. Those bikes are also cool. I really like the design of the big wheel like bikes. They're cool. But I mean, there's so many famous bits from this one too. Like the what's the thing? You gotta look at me because I can't.
Sorry, Joe. Oh, I don't know what that's called. Push cart.
Yeah. That is that's like a very famous scene that I've seen before. Like, just out of context. I've seen that one, and I've seen the one where he's on and I thought this was a really cool transition to when he's on the thing, the things that move the wheels on the train,
Yeah, that's a classic. I don't know what you call those, but
it's great. It's so that's a great shot, and a great like moment when he's on that, and then the girl walks away, and then he just sits there deadpan sad and like just like no, like, that's a great scene. I
also love at the end when he becomes a lieutenant, which is awesome. Good for Johnny Gray. And then they're like making out, and he's like saluting all the guys they pass by. It's funny.
It's really good. It's solid. I and yeah, he's the master of the deadpan, like you said. He just absolutely destroys it with that. It's really funny. I also always forget like how much makeup that people had to wear in the old movies. It's crazy. Like you can just see the layers of makeup I feel like on his face. And it's not like it's not cuz like it's just how the movies were. I kind of like it though, like the style, cuz you had to accentuate the eyes. Like I get it.
Exactly.
You had to. You literally like that's what you were going off of. I also want to say I appreciated with Chaplin movies, like you said, the story is very much, I think, a lot more of the emphasis. Because he did plenty of movies that weren't, like, pure, like, he did some dramas, like, silent dramas that were, very just story-based.
Well, The Kid is very dramatic, right?
The Kid, yep. The Kid's the main one I was just going to say. So, and those movies rely a lot on, a lot more on title cards, I say. This movie had very few title cards, and I liked that because I'm not saying I dislike The Kid because it has too many title cards. Not at all. I just think this movie and Buster Keaton's style just doesn't lend itself to title cards, really.
Yeah. You know, it was just unnecessary, right?
Exactly. So when there were title cards, it was fine. Because there were so few of them, and they were only in there when they were needed. Every other time, you could either read their lips, or you didn't need to. You could just tell. It's just, they were fucking acting their ass off, and the shots are so well done. Like, you don't need... It's visual storytelling at its finest, obviously. So that was great. The only criticism I have for this movie, is I think, and this movie is only an hour and like 26. It's not very long. But it still felt a little drawn out to me at some points. I think it's because there's a lot of repetition in this movie, and of course, there is comedy in repetition. I just think they kind of go through the same... I feel like the repetition at a certain point stopped becoming... There were some points where the repetition wasn't for comedy. It was just because they had to get from one place to the other. Yeah. And they had to fill in time. And that's... I understand it's an old... Like, for what this movie does, it's incredible. But if I had to say one criticism, I do think it feels a little drawn out at some points. And it's because they kind of repeat the same... stuff, not really for comedy, but for just moving things along.
I mean, that's just the way you had to do it for audiences back then. In the 20s, this was a time where, like, now we see a movie and a guy can, like, go to the store, and then next thing you know, it's like 2 days later and he's at his office, and we can make those connections.
Yeah.
That's just not... Audiences just couldn't do that. They just didn't have the tools to do that back then.
They did time jumps in this movie, though.
Yeah, but it was always like, go to sleep.
3 months later.
Well, yeah, but that's different.
Yeah.
And I like you have to you have to show, and I feel like especially with this movie, to keep track of where everybody's trains are.
Yeah.
You have to like keep going back and stuff. I definitely understand what you mean. I do think it was a necessity in this for those reasons that I said.
Oh, for the I mean for the time, I still think it's an incredible movie. I just, if I had a criticism, like if I had any criticism on it, I would say that's the criticism where that, because I did lose like some enjoyment from watching the film at a certain point, because I was kind of just like, I'm ready for like the next destination, because the journey was kind of already done.
Well, it's a movie on trains, Joe. The whole thing is destination, or is journey rather.
No, I know, but that's the thing, is they didn't make it. It just, like I said, they weren't making it fresh at a certain point. They just
Yeah.
started, but for what it is, it's amazing. I'm not saying it's not an amazing movie. I just don't think it's like, I don't know if I. People think this. I saw a lot of people saying this is his like masterpiece. Man, it's close. I really like the cameraman, so I don't know. It's close. The cameraman was really fucking good, and I also think I actually thought the cameraman, like comedy wise, was like, I just like the physical gags in that one a little bit more.
But again, this one I
tracking
think it's
shot
just
wise,
overall it's more dynamic across the board. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it was really ahead of its time for sure. It's pretty nuts. So yeah, he's a great actor though. He really killed it. And it's a style that I think no one else could replicate, right? Like it's utterly unique. It's really good. I don't know. What is there anything else that we're missing here? I feel like I'm missing like a certain shot that I really wanted to talk about, but I can't. I feel like I brought all of them up. I went through all the notes, so maybe I forgot to write it down. I mean, I guess I also want to say, this movie had a lot of people in it too. Like there's a lot of extras, which I feel like. I mean, silent films did have, I guess, big crews and big casts, but, like, I don't know, like, they had a lot of cannons, they had a lot of practical effects, they had the fucking trains. Like, imagine resetting that shot. That shot would be so frustrating to reset. Obviously, that one shot was a one take. I'm not talking about the one where you can't re-collapse a bridge, so that was obviously a one take. But, like, the certain tracking shots, like, I imagine they didn't just say, you got it, let's move on. Like, they probably did it a couple times. Like, it probably was a pain in the ass to move the train back, and then...
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that whole process had to be driven by Buster Keaton, whether or not... Yeah.
It was probably frustrating
look,
as hell.
We got it, it's crazy, but we got it, or it's like, this has to be perfect, because it's what I need, but...
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty nuts, but great movie. I also want to say Buster Keaton always plays this character that deserves better, and this character deserves better. That the girl was literally like, "You're not joined." I know how it was during that back then, but this girl was like, "You're not." Didn't even ask him didn't even let him speak. Was just like, and that's obviously like his like whole thing where his characters usually just don't say anything. But this girl's like, "You're not joining the army. I don't want to speak to you anymore," and then just leaves him. Doesn't let him say a word, and then he still does. I just thought it was really funny. Obviously that's his like what his characters do. Like
it's interesting because it's these characters that like they don't have any control over what happens to them.
No, that's what's
they're kind of to no fault of their own very passive in their own lives, and then they get this one opportunity to make a big decision, and they do it kind of without thinking about it. I mean, he was just like boom, like this is happening, like it's go time. Let me hop on that bike.
You chose the wrong train today. It's Liam Neeson. Yeah, good stuff. I don't really know if I have anything else to add with it. What did you rate this one?
This is tough.
It is tough.
'Cause it's a classic.
It is a classic.
But I'm not sure it's a 10 out of 10. And again, this is through the lens of current lens, right? So So I will give it. Oh man, I'm gonna give it a 9.5. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But that's to no fault of the movie, really. Mm-hmm. I think that's just if we are. Again, putting it through the lens of today. Today, this movie is a 9.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 too. I could give it a 9, but I'll give it a 9.5 because I did really enjoy it, and it is pretty groundbreaking. It's pretty groundbreaking. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's just I would not. It's just it's pretty crazy how this was made and edited back then. Like that's just crazy. So very impressive. And I'm kind of surprised this movie came out before the Cameraman. So that's very interesting. Cause yeah, so that's super cool. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's on Amazon Prime for free, which I thought is great. I like that they have these older movies on streaming platforms, and you don't have to like fucking, you know, fight tooth and nail to find them, right? So it's cool that like a lot of them are readily accessible, and this one too specifically. So great film. Definitely check it out. Oh, I really like the music. I want to say the music I thought was really good. You know, I get that it's classic. It's not. It's probably nothing special for the time, but I thought it was.
The thing about these silent movies, right, is that the. I guess I mean, you and I know this, but like, they would send them to the theaters, and then you'd have a guy playing piano next to it, and he would just play something that matched whatever was on the screen. So if you go see this movie in New York and then you go see it in Pittsburgh, it's a completely different score because it's just a guy playing the piano next to it.
That's kind of a cool idea.
It's awesome, but but it definitely has a big influence on how the movie is perceived, right? It's really strange. So,
yeah.
But when a movie like this that gets archived into the Library of Congress, I wonder what the process is, how they decide what the score is going to be.
I know.
It's got to be really interesting.
Yeah. Also, apparently this movie was not well received. Not very well received.
Yeah, it lost a lot of money.
Yeah, it wasn't. I saw that too. I thought it was very interesting that it was from. It makes sense now that you told me that it's based on loosely based on a true story. Because I was like, what? I have not seen very many movies that like are from the South like perspective. Like that's a very different like. I know like. You know there are a few like bigger ones. Isn't that one big one that everyone talks about?
Yeah, D.W. Griffith's movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe I literally was just thinking about it as you were saying that.
That's like the one that I can think of, but that movie.
People are screaming it at us through.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's a huge one.
It's Born. Like, something.
It's one of the biggest ones.
I'm forgetting the name. It's a massive. Well, it was like the longest movie at that point. What the hell is it called? Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation. You got it. Right before I looked it up. Yeah, and that movie, and he did Intolerance too, which was
which was after.
Yeah, a year after.
As like a. Still a little off base, but like a guys, hey. My bad, but not really, because go KKK,
yeah,
but...
Birth of a Nation was fucked up, but you can't, like... That's the thing, is, like, that movie's fucked up, but it's really hard to, like, it does, like, you know, technically it's, like, pretty great, but,
it has a place in history.
Yeah, of course. But it's, like, one of those movies... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that this is like one of the only ones, but like it doesn't like glorify like it's not like it's interesting because now that you said that, it's interesting because it's not like really about like it's about the Civil War, but it's not really about like the sides. It's more about just like what's going on.
Just the story. Exactly.
So like that's
the
cool.
Story of a man.
Yeah, literally, story of a man who can't control his life. His life is out of control. Simple engineer. Or not so simple, some would say. But anyway, yeah, good film. There's something else I was gonna say, but now I can't remember. But definitely check it out. Yeah, great stuff this week. We're definitely gonna be doing more silent films in the future. We definitely have a couple lined up, so that's gonna be exciting. So stay tuned for that. For the next one of those, but yeah, love doing the older throwbacks. It's always a good time. And yeah, I think that's all there is to it this week. So, yeah, you can follow us on our socials, Instagram at film_juice. You can also follow us on Twitter at filmjuicepod. And yeah, when this episode comes out, I actually think we'll probably be doing a watch party possibly too. So
Yes,
that might be
I hope
out.
so.
That might be out, so check that out if it's out. Or it might be premiering the day you're listening to this. So
Ooh,
check
la
out
la.
the socials to check that out. Yeah, check out what movie we're doing and stuff, because it's most definitely going to be a good time. And yeah, I think that's all there is to it. If you're listening on Spotify, maybe check us out on YouTube. You can see our beautiful faces. And some cool like visuals. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. And maybe if you're on your way somewhere, you can listen to it on Spotify or iTunes or Google.
This is a podcast that travels very well.
We travel everywhere. We're with you.
That's right.
So yeah. Anyhow, I think that's all there is to it. As always, I'm Joe Dorado.
And I'm Andrew Canada, and we'll see you next time at the movies.